Hey everyone, welcome to LumberJillville. Women's wrestling lives here, and welcome to this all-female intro for today's figure review.
That's right, today the women of LumberJillville are going to perform the intro because today's figure review of the top picks Ronda Rousey depicts her WrestleMania 35 attire. And Queen Diva Marie will explain why it was such an important night.
Shoot, I forgot my lines. Because WrestleMania 35 is when women's wrestling was created by the Romans, Greek people. Things?
No, you moron. That's not it at all.
Anyways, 35 was the first ever women's main event in WrestleMania history. On this night, Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, and Ronda Rousey would compete in a winner-takes-all triple threat match. Ronda's attire in this top picks figure depicts this historic match.
Is it our turn to speak yet? Yes, we are ready to represent all of the women robots out there watching LumberJillville.
Oh, hey there, fellow women. I hear that y'all are doing a special video today. Well, I got news for you. These two women here would love to be a part of this intro video. Isn't that right, Dexarina?
Mayor Aaron, we know it is you in a wig trying to Santino Marella your way into this intro.
Oh, how did you know my name? Aaron. E-R-I-N.
Wow, why don't you just go review today's figure?
Oh, haha. Look what I had sitting here. Yeah, I'm just gonna get started.
OMG, who were those women? I've never seen them before. That tall one was hideous, but that one with the mustache was kind of cute.
Welcome to LumberJillville. Women's wrestling lives here. Now, before we get started, I just want to remind you to please hit subscribe below to become an official resident of LJV and get a first look at all future women's wrestling figures like today's. Now, this is a historic, monumental women's wrestling figure because this is the first time that we've got a female included in the WWE Top Picks line. And this is something I have really tried to promote for a long time and try to get it out there on message boards and posts and Facebook groups that they need to include a female in these Top Picks lines. Now, these Top Picks lines are known to kind of peg warm in the stores, but not because of superstars they choose, but because they receive entire cases of that star. But I think that would be great exposure for the women's division to get a female included in that line. And we finally have it here with Ronda. So I'm super stoked to review this figure. So without further ado, let's dive in. Alright, so starting off with the packaging here. Now, this packaging is the same that we see in the mainline Elite series. It's the same color scheme and style and everything else with that black and blue with red accents. The only difference here is in the top corner, we have this beautiful Top Picks logo, and I say it's beautiful because I'm just really happy to see a female included in that Top Picks line. It's been a long time coming, and I'm so glad that I have it in front of me to review, so I'm stoked. But yeah, the overall style packaging is the same that we see in the main lines here. The only difference is that little logo in the corner. We have an image of Ronda on the front, that same image on the side, and on the back, what's really cool is we get a little blurb or a little bio career highlight thing here, and it says the baddest woman on the planet defended her Raw Women's Championship in the first ever all-women's main event of WrestleMania 35, which we're actually going to get into next. But yes, that is what this attire is from, so that is accurate. Now let's take a look at the figure. WWE Top Picks Elite Ronda Rousey. This attire is from WrestleMania 35, which took place on April 7th, 2019 in East Rutherford, New Jersey. In this historic first women's WrestleMania main event, Becky Lynch would defeat SmackDown Women's Champion Charlotte Flair and Raw Women's Champion Ronda Rousey in a winner-takes-all triple threat match, leaving Becky with both titles. Becky Two Belts was born on this night. Alright, some overall first impressions of this figure. I love this figure. I'm a big fan of Ronda Rousey, and I actually have all of Ronda's figures. I'll input right here, and I love Ronda Rousey's figures. Now, to the naked eye, her figures might all look very similar, and they are, but they all are very unique in their own ways, and this one's no different, and I love that it has its uniqueness to it. And there are some things that they did with this figure that they haven't done in Ronda figures before that I've kind of really wish they would, so we'll get a closer look at that when we break down this figure piece by piece. But starting out with accessories here, she comes packaged with a closed right fist. Her left hand is an open C grip. The extra hand she comes packaged with is a closed left fist here, and then the right semi-open hand. And it looks like the glove is just painted on the closed fist hand sculpt, but the semi-open hand sculpt here, the gloves are kind of sculpted on there, so that's nice. And then the other accessory she comes with this Raw Women's Championship, which I'm going to be completely honest, after I reviewed that Elite 100 Becky Lynch, and we got the smaller title, this has zero appeal to me. It's too big. You know what I mean? It's way too big. I wish it was shrunken down a little bit, but hopefully we start getting that in the future releases of these women's championships. But yeah, so I mean, it's fun that they included it. It's nice, but I do wish it was that smaller sculpt that we saw in that Becky Elite 100. And then obviously we have this kilt. Now we'll take a close look at it here. Yeah, there's a lot of detail in this kilt. I mean, even the fur on the front of it is like a brownish gray color with sculpted detail. And the nice plaid stripes going along there, pretty awesome. And it is really easy to take off and put back on. So that's definitely an added bonus. Now with that being said, let's take a closer look at this face scan because there's a really cool detail here that they added that I am really excited for. So as far as the face scan, face sculpt, and hair sculpt goes, Mattel's done a really good job capturing Ronda's likeness in a lot of her figures. I'd say pretty much all of them except for that first in the line basic she had. That wasn't the best likeness, but it's amazing. They really do a great job with that sculpt scan, and it really does look just like Ronda, but there's been a detail missing from a lot of her figure releases that bothers me, and that's the thick eyeliner or the thick eye makeup around the eyes, and I am happy to say that they finally have added that to a Ronda figure, and it looks excellent. I mean, it might not be noticeable to the naked eye. I mean, I didn't even notice it until I had it in front of me. But if you compare it to the Elite 97 Ronda, if you look at the eyes here, you can see that they obviously included those dark circles or the real dark eyeliner around the eyes, and boy does it make that scan pop. Really makes that face stand out even more. It makes it more aggressive, and it just looks amazing. And it's such a small detail that I've really been clamoring for a long time for them to add, and I'm so glad that they added it because it looks fantastic. And like I said, it might not mean much to some people, but to me it means everything because it is such an overlooked detail that really makes this figure stand out. So anyway, I'm going to quit gushing about the eyeliner. That's great. But yeah, the face sculpt is a very furrowed brow, intense Ronda, and it does look like the same sculpt that we have gotten before. It's just obviously that the liner around the eyes, and the eyes themselves might be a little different. Even the eyebrows here. Yeah, I could do face comparisons all day, but it's very similar to the previous sculpts and scans. Like I said, the eyes are the biggest difference here. And we even have her little birthmark under her eye. And then the ponytail hair sculpt is accurate, and it's beautiful as always. Looks great. And I will say that this hair color does look really good. I know that sounds stupid, but it does look like a real hair color. And that's something we don't honestly get too often with these WWE figures with the women. But yeah, the hair color looks pretty good. I think that's definitely an improvement from previous figures' hair. But all right, so let's move on down to that body sculpt and attire. Alright, so moving on down to Ronda's body sculpt and attire. We have seen this body sculpt used multiple times previously for Ronda, but there's a reason for that. For one, it is awesome, and for two, it is custom to Ronda, so it really does a great, if not perfect job of capturing her physique and her build. It is a great body sculpt. The only thing I'm going to say, and this is just me, y'all, because I've posted before in groups and I've got torn apart, but something I noticed, I think it was the SummerSlam Elite that came out a couple years ago, is, you know, we see her abdominals here, we turn the figure around, and oh my gosh, that looks like a abdomen. Those look like abs on her back. And I know people are going to say, well, they gave her muscular back. But let me tell you something. That's not how the muscle striation patterns go in the back muscles. But that might be me overthinking it. Either way, when I first saw it on the SummerSlam Elite, I couldn't unsee it. It just looked to me like a kind of modified abdominal ripped muscle pattern here and used on her back. Just kind of bizarre, but like I said, probably just me. Not a huge deal. Anyway, moving it to the front here, let's continue with the sculpting. This top is completely sculpted here, the straps and also the borders of the top. And it is custom to her here. And obviously we have some folds that are sculpted on. Even these straps in the back are sculpted and really nice. The paint application here, we have a red border outline along with the red on the straps. We have a white base color and we have Rowdy. And this time we get really cool red bordered letters that has yellow, which it kind of transforms into orange and then transforms into red. And that's just a really, really cool look there. Moving on down to her bottoms. Now, this is a detail that they added on this figure that I love, is they painted the waist of her tights higher, just to right below her belly button, which is accurate. She wears the higher type tights. And yeah, this is, I believe, the first time they've really done that, and it looks excellent. I really like that. Now, this black base color is nice, but the red logos really do stand out here if you look at the design patterns there. Really cool writing there. Moving on down to her signature boots, we have red and white details with a lot of sculpting there. I mean, this figure is excellent. There's a lot of detail here. I'll give you a look at the gloves here once again. So the gloves, like I said, that closed fist hand does have her kind of signature gloves painted on with the details. But if you get the grasping hands, then they are sculpted on, those little straps, if you'd call them. So they're a little bit different, but they are cool. So yeah, as far as the body sculpt goes, it's perfect. The attire goes, it's perfect as well, in my opinion. Alright, so next up I wanted to do a little figure comparison between three of my favorite Ronda figures. So, obviously I mentioned before I have all of Ronda's figures, but I'm not going to put them all out here. I did do a Ronda figure history that's outdated now that I've gotten a couple Rondas. And I've also done detailed reviews on all of Ronda's figures, so make sure you check those out on the channel if you're curious about them. Now, if you had to choose an end-all, be-all Ronda Rousey figure, I'm sure a lot of you would go with that Ultimate Edition. And I can't argue, that is an excellent figure. It's a beautiful figure. You can make two very different looks, and it's really cool. However, it was released in the first series of Ultimate Editions, and I don't know what the price is on it, but it's probably up there in all honesty, so it might be hard to obtain. So in front of me are three affordable, pretty easy to obtain figures, and I imagine this Top Picks figure is going to be flooding the stores just like all the other Top Picks lines, which I'm not mad about. So anyway, I just wanted to show you kind of a comparison between these three. So on the left here we have Elite Series 97, which just came out. In the middle, we have this Top Picks Ronda Rousey, which we're obviously looking at today. And on the right, we have that SummerSlam Elite Series 77. And these are all pretty distinct, unique looks. Now, I did love this SummerSlam Ronda Rousey. I really love how it's just in the all-black attire this time around. We get that really unique eye makeup. However, what bothered me about this figure is the hair was actually inaccurate. Like, everything else is spot on to her match at SummerSlam that this depicts, but the hair was inaccurate, and that really bummed me out, disappointed me, and it took this figure down a couple notches in my opinion. But this is definitely a cool, unique figure, and yeah, it should be pretty easily affordable out there. This Elite 97 is also an excellent figure, obviously a very different look than the previous ones we're looking at. And this is kind of the modern day. This simulates her return here. And like I mentioned when I reviewed this figure, this is truly going to go down as one of the most underrated women's elites of all time because it looks so boring, it looks so plain, but if you take a close look at all the details that they included in this attire to really make it stand out and look accurate, And they really didn't take any shortcuts, in my opinion, on this figure. And I don't think it gets the love it deserves. So I think that this is truly one of the most underrated women's wrestling figures. It might go down in history as the most underrated years from now. But I do love that figure. And then today we have that Top Picks Ronda. Now, in my opinion, I think the Top Picks Ronda is the best. Now, that is just a completely subjective, statement there. Obviously, you can make your own decisions on that. But I like a ring attire Ronda, and in my opinion, the best ring attire Ronda that allows for maximum articulation and also really does stand out and simulate such an iconic moment. It's definitely this Top Picks Ronda. So if I were you, I would definitely head out and try to order this thing online at Ringside Collectibles or wait until it starts hitting store shelves. All right, so let's cover articulation, starting with the head here. She has good movement looking right, good movement looking left, a little bit limited looking up and down, but the head's nice and stable on there. Shoulders on a ball joint can move in all different directions. We have the upper arm swivel. We have double jointed elbows, which is really good for Ronda. I think this is the third time we've got Ultimate Edition, also Elite Series 97. Anyway, we have this upper torso swivel, which has pretty good movement, flexing the trunk forward, extending back, but not a whole lot of movement side to side. We have a swivel at the waist there. Hip is on a ball joint, can move in all different directions. We have an upper thigh swivel, double jointed knees, which really can flex back. We have a boot swivel at the top of her short boots. And then her foot can plantar flex, dorsiflex, and it can also rock side to side a little bit. So yeah, her articulation is obviously pretty amazing, as the Mattel women's figures have been as of late. And yeah, no complaints there. Alright, so overall, I give WWE Top Pick Elite Series Ronda Rousey an overall score of a perfect 10 out of 10. In my opinion, this figure is going to be the gold standard, kind of the measuring stick for all women's wrestling figures I review here in LumberJillville, because this is an easy 10 out of 10 figure. Now, I do think I have reviewed figures better than this one. Elite 99 Queen Zelina, Elite 98 Mandy Rose, and Ultimate Edition Alexa Bliss, just to name a few. But those were very unique in their own right, had a lot of added details and sculpting to their attires that you just wouldn't see on other wrestling figures. This Ronda isn't as flashy as those. It's not as unique, but for what it is a perfect depiction of Ronda Rousey. The details are tremendous. I love the eyeliner they added to it. The likeness is there. The body sculpt's perfect that they used before. The attire's accurate. The inclusion of the kilt and the Raw Women's Championship is just great. So, in my opinion, everything about this figure is a 10 out of 10. And like I said, this figure is definitely going to be the new measuring stick for all women's wrestling figure reviews. It'll be like, well, is it better than Ronda? Because if it's better than Ronda, it might be over a 10. But either way, I was just blown away by this figure. I really didn't know what to expect, even from images online. But yeah, this figure is a perfect 10 out of 10. Make sure to head on over to ringsidecollectibles.com and use coupon code LJV at checkout to save 10% on your next order of women's wrestling figures. Now stay tuned, there are some really exciting women's wrestling figure reviews coming to LumberJillville very soon. Basic Series 137 Aaliyah should be here. If I had to guess, it should be here in the next couple weeks. And also, the Showdown 2-pack Charlotte versus Alexa Bliss is en route to LJV. It's in Virginia, I think, right now. It's kind of taken a weird route to get here, but it should be here this week, so that review should be up very soon. Also, of course, the Jillies Award Show. Where's the award? There it is. The Jillies Award Show will be here live in LJV toward the end of January. So if you haven't placed your votes yet, make sure you go back and watch the videos I posted and place your votes in the comments. I'm real excited to see what figure gets named the Figure of the Year. Now that being said, please subscribe to LumberJillville Wrestling Figures for a first look at all future women's wrestling figure reviews and to become an official resident. Now I'll see y'all very soon. Thanks for watching and have a great night, y'all.